Hello, and welcome back to the channel. As most of you know, I'm Topher, and for those of you who don't know and just randomly decided to click on my video, welcome to the channel. I'm Topher. Thank you for stopping by. So we're here to do a reaction, and we're diving into episode 43 of Who's Jin Ling's Uncle this week. Last episode, towards the end, we had Wuxia and Zhan and Xian going to the forbidden library at the Lan Clan, or the Cloud Recesses, and looking through some of the, I guess, harmful music. I don't know exactly what the books were called, but basically Wuxian was using his empathy to play back the melody line that Meng Yao had been playing way back when for Scarlet Peak Master. And both Zhan and Xian were like, you played that wrong. And he's like, no, I played it exactly like they played. And they're like, oh, well, shit. He must be doing some nefarious shit. Let's go see if we can find what he's been playing in these books. So we were going down there to research that, and that's where things left off. So we are going to pick up and see what they discover. Okay, another fantastic episode. I feel like I'm a broken record at this point. Every episode I finish at how I have to start it, but it's the truth, because it's all like there's a point there in the middle when Lanjan was going to go see Uncle, and Zichen was escorting Wuxian to I guess the place where his mother lived. And I was just sitting here thinking to myself, man, this is one thing I love about some of these series where it's like, yes, I love the series where it's all cute and lovey-dovey and the entire thing is, okay, we're going to talk about this couple and their romances, this, that, the other. But I find it so much more compelling and so much more intriguing when the series has a world outside of just the couple. And during that particular moment, I was just sitting there watching like, man, this show is so, like, we haven't really had any mention of Lanjan and Wuxian, like, romance yet in this episode. But I'm so invested. I'm so interested because it's such good world building. They give me such compelling characters, and they just know how to tell an interesting story where if the romance was not a part of the series, it's still a good series. Like, it's still a compelling story. So if Lanjan and Wuxian, if I wasn't supposed to be shipping them together and whatnot, it is still just a compelling story. And I love those kind of series. I love. And then the fact that we have this romance on top of it is just a nice little cherry on top. But yeah, I absolutely love. But we started off where we left off last episode with them in the secret library and making the conclusion that Meng Yao's been playing tunes from the collection of Chaos, and they found that there was a page missing, and they're going through all these speculations and like, okay, well, maybe he didn't have enough time, so he stole it. And then Wuxian's like, no. He's got an incredibly photographic memory, and he's very good at memorizing things, and he's very, very smart. So I don't think he stole it because he couldn't memorize it in time and stole it, so there would be no evidence left. And I've said it at the exact same time, so there's no evidence in case any of this came to light and people started looking through this book of chaos or this collection of chaos. There's no evidence pointing to him that, oh yeah, this was something that was in there, because who's gonna say, y'all, like, this collection's missing this page, y'all have no idea. Granted, still, they have no other proof that he was doing anything, that Meng Yao had been doing anything. It's their word against his, but still, it's just showing how long and calculatingly Meng Yao has been playing this game. He's been doing the long waiting game, and he has laid so many pieces in place. And in the last couple episodes, we've seen things in modern day that are starting to disrupt the foundation that he's kind of laid. Like, all these years, things have just been going down perfectly according to plan, and he has been fine. He's been thriving, and now there are certain things that are starting to rattle the foundation. So like when his wife received whatever letter from somebody and saw whatever information in it, that had her shook and ready to expose him and leave him this, that, the other. So he had to handle that situation. And then with Wuxian sending the little paper doll to investigate the secret room behind the mirror and all that, and finding out that information, like he had all these things that are starting to shake up the facade that he's spent so long building and, you know, showing to the public. So he's been playing this game for a very long time. It's impressive, the amount of patience and just calculating, tactile, you know, planning. It's impressive. I don't like him still, but it's very impressive. And like I said, in that scene and a number of other scenes, I'm so happy that Xian is willing to listen to reason. Because as we've seen, especially in the scene that I was mentioning earlier during the last battle of the flashback before Wuxian died, there's so many people in this universe who, if Wuxian or the person who he's supposed to be right now, before they realize, oh, he's a Ying patriarch, he's back, he's resurrected. If they had just walked up and spouted, hey, this leader of the Jin clan out here has been doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, doing all this kind of stuff without any concrete proof, and even if they had concrete proof, if they just started spouting this stuff out, they would start screaming, heretic, crazy madness, he's into dark arts, blah blah blah, let's go get this person who's speaking all these lies about the Jin clan leader. Like, they would spin that narrative back around on Wuxian with such a quickness, because it doesn't matter, they've already made up their mind that this person's bad, this person's crazy, this person's whatever. So if they had been spouting that information to anybody else in this universe, there's such a high probability that those people would immediately disregard what they're saying, call them crazy, maybe turn them into the guards or the police or whatever it is. So I'm so happy that Xian is open. Like, obviously, he cares deeply about Meng Yao, and he does not want this to be the case. You know, for him, Meng Yao is kind of what Wuxian is to Zhan. So, you know, he doesn't want this to be the case, but he's open-minded enough to realize that there are a lot of coincidental happenings surrounding, like, Meng Yao seems to coincidentally be involved or around these certain events that are happening, and yes, it could very well just be coincidence, but with the way things are starting to play out right now, it's like, this feels a little too convenient. So I'm happy he's willing to take the time and opportunity to, like, okay, I need to look into this. I'm not going to just jump straight and say you guys are right, even though the story you're telling, the tales you're telling are very compelling. Like, me watching it, because I have all the background information, I'm like, they're telling the truth. But I'm glad that he's willing to not just take everything they're saying at face value, but he's not shutting them down either. He's like, I need to genuinely investigate this and see what's happening. And I hope that I'm right. I hope you guys are wrong. But if you're not wrong, then, you know, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. I'm just very happy that he's such a level-headed and just fair man. That's one thing I can say about Xian. He's very, very fair. I loved a little bit of backstory that he was giving us about his mom and their visits to her when they were children and that whole dynamic. I don't know if mom ever grew to like dad, because from what I got at the beginning of that story was dad saw her and it was love at first sight, but she didn't like him. She killed one of his teachers, but he was in love. So he decided to bring her here, which I don't know if that was against her will or if she agreed to come live here at the Cloud Recesses, but he brought her here and married her. Again, I don't know if it was against her will or if she was a willing participant. I don't know. But then he got a second house and he lived there. He didn't stay with her. I'm like, okay, so you got married, you had kids. Did you ever see her again after you had the kids, or did you just live in your separate houses and then that was that? Because she felt like she was under house arrest, so I don't know that she ever left the house. So I'm like, I don't know exactly the nature of the relationship between mom and daddy there towards the end, but something happened to mama and she is no longer there. To me, it sounds as though she passed from some means, but who knows? Since they didn't directly tell me that she's dead, she could be alive somewhere and just off living in a mountain village or whatnot. They just kicked her out or she left, who knows? But it was sounding along the lines as though she passed, or at least that's the story the children came up with, or were told later on in life. Either way, it's not terribly important unless in the next 7 episodes that becomes a super important plot point and mama just comes out of the woodwork like, hey y'all, I'm here to save the day, I'm gonna clear up all this nonsense. Or mama was the big bad all this time, the other flute, she's the bad mastermind. Now I know y'all are like, Topher, now you're just pulling all kinds of random crap out of your ass right now. Just bring it back to reality. Like, it's okay to suspect Meng Yang, but now you're going too far. Okay, I'll reel it back in. But yes, I don't think that they're trying to make a big deal or introduction or plot twist about mom or anything like that. But if watching horror movies or anything like that has taught me anything, if I didn't see them die and they didn't explicitly tell me that they were dead, they could be alive somewhere. So mama could be out floating out there somewhere doing something, ready to just pop into the story in the last act. Who knows? But I love getting that backstory and just that peek into their childhood and Lan Zhan's personality as a child, and how even just that scenario affected their uncle and how he chose to raise them and why he was so rigid with them, because he saw how that sort of throwing caution to the wind or whatever mentality affected his brother's life. And he's like, I don't want to see that happen to my nephews, to my brother's children, so I'm going to raise them rigidly and have them adhere to the ways of the clan and this, that, the other. And I was like, okay, I still don't necessarily like that approach, but I can understand where he's coming from. And you can see even when he was having them flog Lan Zhan that he would kind of look away. Like, he didn't want that to be happening to his nephew. He genuinely cares and loves, his family. But rules are rules, and you broke the rules, broke the clan rules. So this you know the punishments. When he's like, I'm so disappointed in you, this, that, the other, and I'm like, I get where you're coming from, but also it's like, I'm sorry that I grew a personality of my own. I'm sorry that I learned to think for myself, because obviously if there's one thing we've seen throughout this series, amongst the various clans, they tend to want you to be good soldiers, follow orders, do as you're told. These are the rules, this, that, the other, which is, society in general, I suppose. But no, there's no room for free thinking. There's no room for individualized thought. These are the rules. You are taught to these at a very young age, rote memorization. Follow the rules. You break the rules, you get punished. Here are your rules. Do that. And again, we saw in the earlier parts of the series, like when Wuxian when they were doing the retreat, the very first few episodes, where Wuxian was not necessarily a rule follower. Still is not to this day. Rigid rules are not for him. But we could see how he was already starting to be not really villainized, but kind of characterized as this bad apple, who's going to spoil the whole bunch. This bad student who doesn't know how to pay attention, this, that, the other, and he's just going to cause chaos, and he's going to, you know, influence all the other good students. He's going to be just a bad influence, this, that, the other. And it's not that Wuxian was doing anything necessarily wrong or bad, or that he was trying to be a bad influence. He wasn't. He was just living his life how he knows, and he was just asking questions and this, that, the other, and he's just thinking outside of this prescribed box that these clan rules say he has to think inside. He was, you know, just doing things in a different way. He had a different viewpoint, and we don't like different. Different's not allowed here. We don't do different here. So in that scene when Long John's getting flogged, it was very much that moment where Long John was, he didn't say it verbally, but it's very much that sort of, I'm sorry, I learned to think for myself. I know that thinking for yourself is not allowed here, but I'm sorry. That's, you're saying these things are bad, blah, 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 but how can you say things are, you know, so black and white? Like, there's a lot of gray in this world. If there's anything I've seen, if there's anything I learned from my love affair with Wuxian, there's a shit ton of gray in this world. You and all these other clan leaders and whatnot want to talk about black and white, good, bad, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, y'all are living in some of the darkest gray areas I've ever seen in my life. Okay, some of the shit y'all get on with is some of the murkiest color gray I've ever seen in my life. So you can't tell me that the world is just black and white. This is what's good, this is what's bad. It's complicated. Yes, let's see what else happened. All right, then Lan Zhan came back with the Emperor's smile, which again, nice callback and just kind of heartwarming moment. And they talked, they drank, they talked about him hearing the secondary flute, and Lan Zhan said he talked to Ying, and he mentioned how he heard a flute coming from 2 different directions that day when he was accidentally killed Jin. And he's like, don't you want to know what's happening? And Wuxian was like, there was part of me when I first woke up, it was replaying in my head over and over again. That and the fact that I heard a second flute playing when we were at the big battle at the, you know, Nevernight. But now I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, because it doesn't matter. Even if I found out who did it and I had proof, this, that, the other, they've already villainized me. They've already turned me into their villain. And it doesn't matter who I say I'm innocent to. They've already decided that I'm guilty. And even if this didn't happen, this didn't happen, this didn't happen, this didn't happen, they still would have found something to make me the villain, because they had already decided in their head that I am their villain. Because sometimes people just need a scapegoat. They just need someone that they can collectively hate on, point their attention towards, and be like, this is a bad person to unite us. This is something to distract from all this other shit that's happening over here. Politics. We got all these other problems in the world happening, all this shit back here, but hey, look over there at that man who's saying things that's different from what we're saying. He's the enemy. Let's all focus on that shit over there. Lord, politics make my head hurt, I swear to God. Yeah, he's basically saying it doesn't matter. As long as I have a clear conscience, I am fine. And even Lan Zhan was saying that in like his own mental headcanon. It's like, as long as your conscience is clear, then, you know, it's okay. It's good. And we had some beautiful music. We had some beautiful snowfall. We had some beautiful moments of them staring at each other like friends, because they're best friends. And yeah, it's just, I love them. I love them so much. And then we had that next scene where Meng Yao came to visit Xian, and they were kind of listening in on him. and things Meng Yao was saying, again, just trying to spin this narrative that Wuxian is out here causing all kinds of mayhem and mischief, because now all of a sudden Wuxian's been resurrected for however long at this point in the storyline. But now all of a sudden there's activity at the burial mounds and ghost puppets are starting to appear. It's like, you know, Wuxian been back for like months at this point, and there's been no activity. So now that you're aware that Wuxian's back, now all of a sudden stuff is happening. But if we weren't aware that this man was Wuxian, none of this shit would have been going down at the burial mounds, right? So convenient timing, convenient stuff is happening over there. The burial mounds and puppets are blah blah blah, and he's spinning this narrative that Wuxian may have activated some spell to call the puppets or use the yin iron or this, that, the other, and it's like, he is just out here spinning this narrative. Lord. But yeah, you can see it in Ji Chen's eyes that he is starting to lose his faith in Meng Yao. The more that he talks, the more he says, he's just starting to lose his faith. He doesn't want to be right in this situation, or he doesn't want to be wrong in this situation. He doesn't want Meng Yao to have deceived him and for him to have played some part in Meng Yao doing bad stuff, this, that, the other. But it's that reality is fast approaching, and he's like, oh, shit. So we'll have to see what happens with that. And then at the end of the episode, we had a nice little revisit to a character that I didn't honestly think we were going to see again. So I'm kind of happy we did. We got Mian Mian back after she stormed off that day in the throne room, or I forget what room it was, during the whatever retreat they were having when everyone was out here accusing Wuxian, this, that, the other. And she was basically saying, not necessarily taking up for him, but kind of standing up for things that he represented, where basically it's like, what proof do you have? And they're like, we don't need proof. And it's like, but you're saying that he's doing all these things and you have no proof. And there's this, like, things that Wuxian has been trying to get across to the other side. She was also trying to get that thought process over to the other side, and they were just kind of shutting her down. She's like, you know what, fine, fuck this shit, I'm out. And I was glad that she did not die. I was very fearful of something bad happening to her because she chose to leave. But I'm glad that she made it out. She's got her husband, her child, she's out, she's got her little house, she's thriving. I'm like, okay, I'm glad to see this. This makes me happy. Somebody else who is in Wuxian's corner, or somebody else who at least can see Wuxian for who he is, and not just these rumors that have been spread around. I'm glad to see somebody else, a friendly face. And hell, you could even hear from how her daughter was reacting to her husband, saying, what if the Ying patriarch resurrected, come got you and gobble you up? She's like, well, mommy said those stories are all fake, and he wouldn't punish bad people. He wouldn't punish good people. And you can see Wuxian like, yes, thank you, someone finally got my back. So it's like, she knows his intention. She knows that he's not going to just be out here causing all this chaos and calamity for the sake of it, like the stories have been told. Like, yes, he had done some shit in the past, but the majority of it was punishing bad people who did bad deeds, this, that, the other. So it's nice to see a friendly face, and I'm excited. We've only got 7 episodes left. We are so close. So I think in probably like a couple more, maybe 2 more weeks, maybe, if that long, we'll be done. We'll be all done watching this. Of course, if you're watching this on Patreon. If you're watching this on YouTube, by the time this gets to YouTube, we're long since been done and moved on to other things. But I'm going to stop babbling so I can dive into some other stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on notifications to be notified when all my shenanigans get posted. If there's anything else you'd like me to react to, be sure to leave it down in the comments. I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, you're more than welcome to join us over on Patreon. Don't have to, but you're more than welcome to if you want to. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Love ya. Mwah.
Stranded here, stranded here, stranded. There was a time we had it all. The darkness took over, and we started to fall. Hey, the feelings I had for you, they never left. And now I'm standing here stranded, lost with no vision of how we used to be. Standing here, stranded. Standing here, stranded. Ooh, yeah. I was drowning, suffocating. When you pulled me out for air, I was running through the fire in the mountains that I see. Can't breathe without you. It's hard to see without you. Can't breathe without you. No, I can't live. No, I can't live without you. It's hard to see without you. Can't breathe without you. No, I can't live. No, I can't live without you. Now it's again.